Hello YouTube land, it's Debbie from the Canadian Crocheter. This is going to be a slightly different video. I've had a lot of requests to do asking me how I make my bags, and so I decided to do a little tutorial. Not a very good tutorial. I'm not equipped. I don't have the equipment like some YouTubers have. This is just me in my dining room doing the best that I can. Again, I'm not a sewist. I don't measure well. I don't sew well. I just muddle through. And basically I want to encourage anybody who's thinking of creating something with a sewing machine and some fabric to go ahead and do it. And I'm going to show you, this is the bag that I used for the tutorial. I'm actually going to send it to Laurel because she said she would take my dodgy bags. Yeah. Now, like I said, this tutorial is just to encourage those who are sitting on the fence, whether they can do it or not. You'll see, I don't do anything very, very well, but I still come up with something. So, and I know that if I keep doing it and keep practicing, I will get better and better and better. So, I don't want to see negative feedback, to be honest with you. I'm throwing myself out there and I'm showing you the best that I got, and it might not be as good as some, but it's the best that I got. Anyway, have a look and hopefully you'll jump in and maybe create something for yourself. Hopefully that'll work out. Anyway, thanks for watching and we'll talk soon. Alright, we're gonna try this. This is how I make my bags, and the quilters and the sewists out there are going to be cringing through this whole thing. But I'm going to show you how I do them. I have a tendency to cut corners a lot, but then again, I am not planning on becoming a professional sewist, so I just want project bags. And so I don't measure exactly, I don't cut exactly, and I'm quite happy with that. So if you're interested, I'm going to show you how I do it. But like I said, I do not want to tell anyone how to do their own thing. I'm just going to give you how I do it, and then we'll go from there. So basically, I have a fat quarter here. Now, from what I understand, fat quarters are 22 inches by 18 inches generally. This one is 23 inches, but as you can see, you have the perforated end here. I'm going to try to show you. I'm not sure if you can see that. But anyway, so that's unusable. But I don't care. So what I'm going to do, what a lot of sewists will say, you wash your fabric and then press it. And a lot of times when I buy fabric by the yard or the meter, I will do that. But in this case, I just bought this fat quarter at Walmart, and it's already pre-cut. So basically, I've just folded it in half. And what I found, the biggest help for me, being such a newbie and novice sewist, an iron helps tremendously. So what I've done is folded it in half, and the reason I've done that is I don't want a huge bag. Now I can make, if I get 2 of these, I can just, it's already pre-cut, I just, you know, make a bigger bag, but I want a smaller bag. Now what I want is, so if you take a look at this, this is about 11 inches wide. So I can't use this perforated edge, so I'm gonna do a 1/2 inch, I'm not sure, inseam, or I'm not sure what it's called. Now you know how much of a newbie I am. And that's so that I don't get the perforated line. And then, so I figure, you know, I don't have to go quite that far in on this side, but I'm not going to stress about it. I'm going to go wherever I can. Just remember that when you make the lining, it's also got to be the same measurements. So just to make life easier, I'm going to go 1/2 inch this way and 1/2 inch this way for sewing. So basically my bag, if I take 1/2 inch and 1/2 inch, my bag is going to be 10 inches wide. Okay? Keep that in mind. And then, again, there are going to be some cringing. I know you're supposed to have a straight edge, but to me this looks straight enough. So now I'm going to go, let's see, 14 inches. 14 inches, and I will cut that. So let's mark this. Hold on one second. Sorry about this. Not a tutorialist. And I this happens to be a fabric marker, but I've used regular pencils. I've used all kinds of things because it kind of gets buried. And so now I will just mark here. Then I will go over there and mark the other end roughly. Again, I'm not a quilter. I don't do exact. So now I will connect these two and cut it, and then I will have this little piece of fabric to do my, I'm not actually sure what it's called, my little tabs that the pull string will go through. All right, I'll do that and I'll come back. All right, I went and I cut the piece, I cut the top off, and then I cut that in half, and I cut off the, I'm not sure, but I think it's called a salvage edge, I think. Again, I'm not a sewist, just people have been asking me how I make my bags. So these two pieces will go, they have to be slightly smaller than the bag, so I cut off the salvage edge. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to press these like that, roughly, and then over again. Press them, and then put sew these along there, and then once I fold it over and press it again, that will be the top for the drawstring. Okay, so basically, I'll show you as we go, as I press and I go along, but anyway, you've got two of those pieces. While I was at the cutting table, I also cut two pieces of interfacing. This is non-iron. So all I did was I took my two pieces of fabric, put them on the interfacing, and just cut around it. So now I've got 4 pieces of fabric. And basically, these pieces are just going to give the bag stiffness. So basically, this is your first step, and then you take, so you want to line the back side of the fabric, so each fabric has a back line, and then you will put the two pieces of fabric facing each other, and then you will just stitch basically down here, across here, and up, and that's basically your first step. But before I do that, I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to take it over to the lining, spread it out, and cut 2 pieces of lining the exact same size. We'll be right back. Okay, before I continue, I wanted to show you that I went and I cut 2 pieces of lining. Now this is going to be the lining inside the bag. What I'm using for the lining is, funny story, this is like a fleece on one side and a cotton twill, I guess, on the other side. When we purchased this house, it had professionally made curtains everywhere, and I don't believe in curtains. I want as much sunlight as possible in the house, so I took them all down. But it was such good, the curtains were silk, and this is the lining that was, I guess it's a blackout lining. And the fabric was so good that I took it all apart. I made pillows out of the silk, and I'm saving these for my bags. Anyway, I've washed everything, and so that's what I'm going to be using. Yay for reuse. Anyway, I just cut them. I laid the outer fabric on top of the lining, cut it out, and now on to the sewing, pressing and sewing, and I will show you as I progress. Okay, I have done some sewing. Obviously, I have to trim these threads, but I wanted to show you my sewing. Now, the whole point of this is to make everybody feel like they can do it. Now, I've done about 1/2 inch all the way around. I'm not that exact, I think that I don't do this for professionally, so my bags don't have to be perfect. Anyway, so I have basically taken the two pieces with the lining, sewed about 1/2 inch all the way around, so you got a little pocket like this. And then the lining, I've done everything in black so that you can see it. The lining, what I've done is taken, I've sewn along the one side to about the middle or a third of the way in, and then left an opening here. You will need that to turn the bag inside out. And then I started there again and then sewed all the way there. So now I've got those done. Now what I will do is I will go and I will trim all this excess so that it's less bulk. And then I've also taken the two little pieces, and what I've done, and again, I don't measure, I just kind of eyeball it. Okay, so I've taken the two pieces and folded over about 1/4 inch, I guess, and then pressed, and then folded over again, pressed, and the same on the other end. And then what I've done is run a line of stitches. As you can see, I'm not very straight, but that's okay, it's for me. And then just seamed that, folded it over, pressed it, and that's one of the channels for the cording. And now I'm going to go do the same for this one, and then I'll have two channels roughly around the same size, not exact. Like I said, the bags are just for me. Okay, now I'm going to go trim this, and then I'm going to show you how to box bottom. Okay, all right, I've trimmed off the sides, and I'm going to show you how to box the bottom. And this one's already done, so I'm going to show you with this one. So this is the lining, and you put your hands in here, and you put your fingers in the corners, and then you meet the two corners together like that, and then you just play with it until you get a pretty good edge like that. So, and then a good idea would be to make sure that the edges both go the same way, so that it's easier to sew, easier to measure, until you have something that looks like that. And then I would go and press that like I did with this one, so that you can measure easier. So basically both sides are like that. Yeah, okay, so I've already done that here. I made a mistake, left my iron on steam setting, so it kind of a little bit melted the interfacing, but I'm going to work with it. Okay, so basically what I've done is done the same thing and then pressed it so that you have nice straight edges. Then let's do a 3-inch bottom, and you would take your corner. Again, I cannot stress enough that these are just the way I do things. This is probably not the proper way of doing it, but so I would line up the corner of the ruler there and just mark 3 inches. Then I would take and mark 3 inches the other corner like that, and so you have 3 inches there. And then I would connect the two dots, and there, that's your sewing line. And then let's do that the same thing so you line up your corner like that, mark off 3 inches, and then the corner that way, and then mark off 3 inches, put the two together like that. Now you have a sewing edge, and you sew both of these. Now I'm going to go do that. I'm going to go press this, do the measurements, and then I'll be back and show you the sewing part. All right, I have sewn along the blue lines as best as I could, and now all you have to do is trim. And yeah, just especially when you go over that double, just go slow. Yeah, Just go slow no matter what. So basically you've made yourself a box bottom. Now you can turn, the outer one needs to be turned inside out. Basically, this is the aha moment. I don't care how well you or poorly you sew, like I do. When you turn it over, when you turn it inside out and you see this, you're gonna be so thrilled with yourself. You're gonna say, wow, I made that, I can't believe it. Anyway, so that, you turn that one inside out. And then let's do the lining. We're gonna just trim off the excess. All right. Okay. But the lining you do not turn inside out. Okay? So the lining will just stay like that. And you're gonna take this bag that you've turned right side out, and you're going to slip it inside the lining bag. Okay? And then there's going to be some fiddling. So you try to even out your seams, and you take a clip or a pin, doesn't matter, and you obviously it's not perfect because I am not perfect. I am not a sewist. And you try to basically, as you can see, everything's uneven, but that's okay. It will work out. It will. It might not be the perfect designer bag, but you will be happy with your results. All right, so now you have these two pieces sandwiched together. Now what you're going to do, and I'm not pressing right now, but at every stage I press so that it's easier for me to line things up. Then you will take your channel, the channel fabric, and you will insert it between the lining and the top of the outside fabric. But you're going to insert it so that the folded edge is in the bag. And you're going to just line it up as best as you can. Okay? Oh, come on. And then between, so now you have your lining, you have the 2 layers of your folded channel, and the outside section with the interfacing, and you're just gonna pin it. All right, like that. Again, the sewists are gonna cringe. Now I'm also going to take this and I'm going to pin, you can roughly feel where the channel is. I'm gonna go to the top so that it does not get in the way of my sewing machine, and just make sure that it's somewhat straight. Okay, and then we're gonna do the same with the other side. So between the lining and the outside fabric, you're gonna insert your channel like that, the folded edge towards the bottom of the bag, and you're gonna go like that, and you're going to sandwich and pin, and then you're going to feel roughly where the edge is, and then just pin it. So just more careful. Now, like I said, these sewists out there are probably killing themselves laughing, but that's not the point of this. The point of this is to give you some power that you can do this. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be yours. All right, so now you're going to sew all the way. Now, because all of my edges are uneven, I'm going to give myself quite a lot of distance. I'm going to do like 1/2 inch all the way around, like that. All the way around. And then we'll be back back to show you how to turn it inside out. Okay, before I turn it inside out, I wanted to show you my uneven lines. As you can tell, not very good, but that's okay. You're gonna see. I just think that newbie sewers are too hard on themselves to have everything perfect, and you don't have to. So because I made such a big, I sewed like I gave a 1/2 inch. I'm not sure what that's called. Again, not a sewist. And as you can see, it kind of puckered here a little bit too. Again, I'm gonna overlook that. So before I turn it inside out, I'm gonna trim this a little bit, just a little bit, and then I'll come back and we'll turn it inside out. All right, I've trimmed it. Now is the test. So now you're gonna see, and you remember that we left a gap at the bottom. Basically, you start pulling gently, just in case you didn't back sew on the edges there, on the hole. Again, I don't know the terminology, I just wing it. Okay. All right, so now let's see what the end result looks like. Now you can stick your hand in there. If you left a big enough hole, you can stick your hand in there. If not, you can use something else to, you know, wooden spoon or something to kind of poke out the edges. Basically, your bag with all the threads. All right, your bag is essentially done. Almost there. Okay, so even with my little puckering and my uneven stitching, it doesn't look awful. Okay, so maybe this is a little crooked, but again, this is just for us normal, never sewn before people. But yeah, this is the bag. Now I'm going to go and top stitch here just to keep this down. And then I'm going to press it so that it looks all pretty. And then your bag, and then we'll put in a cord. All right, we'll see you soon. All right, we are done. I've done the top stitching. Now I've gotten better with the top stitching, so this is not what I would normally do, but I wanted to show you that even with these slight imperfections, the bag is still very good and usable. You just need to be not so hard on yourself. Anyway, so now we're gonna run the cording. And as you can see, it's uneven. Now, what I normally do with the cording, again, I don't measure. I just kind of go like that, say, okay, I got enough, maybe a little less, depending on what kind of tie you're gonna use. But I just eyeball it. But I make sure that I have two lengths of cording the same size. And then what you normally do, cording will unravel. So what you normally should do, put a little piece of tape on the end so that you can run it through the channel. Okay, so now we're just gonna take a big safety pin and we're gonna run it through the channel. So you start at one end and you run it through like that, and then to the other side. All right, so basically one is in. Then you take your safety pin and you take the other cording, but now you want to run it the other way. So we started on this end and went all the way around. So now we're going to start on this end and try to keep it either on top of this one or below this one so that they don't get crossed over inside. All right, come on. This one's a little more difficult only because there's a cord in there already. So you go that way and then the other way on the other channel. Okay, Okay, and we're done. Essentially, we are done. So now we try to run it out so that it's even on both ends. Now what I normally do is I just take it, put a knot. I'm still trying to figure out ways to finish the ends off, but currently, okay, I usually get one of the boys to tighten this because I do not have the strength to do this. But anyway, then you take your tape off and then just fluff it out. That's what I do. That's what I'm currently doing right now. But I'm sure I'm going to find ways of, you know, some people have given me suggestions on, different suggestions on, how to finish off the ends. Come on, tape doesn't want to. So I would just unravel it and, you know, fluff it out. But essentially, your bag is done. Look at that. Anyway, I think I will be sending this one to Laurel because she's asked for my dodgy bags. She's asked, or she hasn't asked, she's actually volunteered to take my dodgy bags. So basically it is done. Now, like I said, this is, if you're a newbie, you'll be so thrilled that you got this done without, you know, getting so frustrated and, oh, my edges aren't straight, oh, my lines aren't straight. Yes, it's not a perfect bag, but you will be happy that you actually have a usable bag. Oh, you know what? I forgot something. My goodness, we forgot to close this end. So basically, when you pull out the insert, you basically just stick your fingers in there and the fabric will want to fold over on itself. And you go over the machine and put a little stitching there, which I'm going to do right now, and I'll be right back. All right, that only took a minute, not even. Basically, I've just added some stitching to the end, and again, it's not perfect, but you just need to not be so hard on yourself. You put it in, and you have a usable bag. I hope this helped, and we'll talk soon.